Hello everyone, in today's video I give you my top 5 South African batsmen. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Now I've been told that I need to make these things a little bit shorter, so here we go. South African cricket returned to the international scene in 1991. This was after 21 years of being banned from international cricket due to apartheid and the policy around non-white players. South Africa didn't tour England until 1994, and that's the first time that I've really seen them. None of the players back then, so Gary Kirsten, Brian McMillan, Barney de Villiers, were players and names that I remember, but didn't really create an impression. What did create an impression back in 1994 was Devon the Destroyer Malcolm taking 9 for at the Oval. And of course, it was only a three-match series back then, so even then, you know, so 3 years after returning to international cricket, South Africa hadn't been given that, you know, full 5-test series in England. Which is what I think is what kind of like, you know, they're the big teams that are coming because you've got 5 games against them. And over the years, you know, the South African results would have caught my eye. I might have caught some of the games on satellite TV back then throughout the 90s. But it was the 2003 series when they toured England again that I really took notice. And the reason why I took notice is because I was out of work back then. And the reason why I was out of work back then was because I'd left work waiting to travel to Australia for a season out there. So during that period of low levels of activity, I couldn't help but watch pretty much every ball of that South African series, one days and test matches. Now the guy I picked for number 5 didn't play in that 2003 series, but surely came into the test side very shortly after that. Number 5, Hashim Amla. A batsman with a very unique style, hard to get out, and as a person showed great humility and dedication to his religion. Now, when I was doing a little bit of research into Amla's stats, I thought he was a player that was around for a good number of years and scored a decent amount of runs at a decent average. But the stats tell a little bit different story. So he played all the way from 2004 to 2019. In tests, he scored more than 9,000 runs, averaged over 46 with the bat, and had a high score of 311. In one-day internationals, however, he averaged 49.5. Amazing. In addition to having a great one-day international average, he was the fastest batsman to 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 and 7,000 one-day international runs, and the first 10 one-day international centuries. So my number 5, Hashim Amla. So coming in at number 4, Herschel Gibbs. Now Herschel was he had his ups and downs, I think that's to be fair. He was a promising rugby player that chose cricket and made his debut for South Africa in 1996. He celebrated many successes, however did admit being part of the Cronje match fixing scandal in 2000. However, he still went on to represent his country. He once hit 228 runs off 240 balls in a test match against Pakistan. He played almost 251 day internationals with a high score of 175. And he was the first one-day international batsman to hit 6 sixes in an over. And that 175 that he made in one-day internationals came in that historic world record chase of Australia's 434. Like I say, a batsman with his ups and downs, but no doubt very, very talented. Loved to smash it. Perhaps the game was just a little bit too easy for him. Number 4, Herschel Gibbs. And in at number 3, A.B. de Villiers. One of the first modern day batsmen who played across all three disciplines. He averaged over 50 in both Test and one-day internationals. De Villiers holds the record for fastest 50, fastest 100 and fastest 150 in one-day internationals. and the record for the fastest 100 in tests. My number 3, A.B. de Villiers. My number 2 South African batsman, Jacques Kallis. Now, why did Jacques Kallis make my list of batsmen? He was a world-class all-rounder, and I agree. However, I do think he was first a batter who bowled. He just so happened that he was brilliant at both. He made his debut at 20 in 1995, and he didn't stop playing until 2014, so 19 getting on for 20 years. He scored well over 13,000 runs, retiring in third place, just behind Ricky Ponting and Sachin Tendulkar for all-time Test run scorer. He retired on an average, a Test average of over 55, and all this while batting sort of 3, 4, and doing his fair share of overs as well. As a player, as a non-Asian player, Kallis was the first batsman to score more than 2,000 runs in Asia, and that was only more recently overtaken by Sir Alistair Cook. As a man, on the sad passing of his father, he changed his cricketing number, his squad number, to 65 in a show of respect and admiration for Henry Kallis. My number 2, Jacques Kallis. So a little bit surprising, very controversial when he first came in, well, not when he first came into the team. My number 1 choice, Graeme Smith. Now, I say controversial, and that wasn't any of his doing. It was because he played 8 tests and then he was made test captain in 2002 at age just 22. A lot of people thought he wasn't good enough, he didn't have the experience, he just simply wasn't old enough to lead the great South African test side. But he did. And in fact, he went on to be the most winning test captain. I believe it was sort of 53 matches that he won as captain. He was made captain in 2002 after such a short test career, really under a lot of pressure following what you could arguably say is Sean Pollock's, can we say, disastrous captaincy. And then before that, obviously Hansi Cronje was the captain, and we know what happened there. Smith hit over 9,000 runs and led his team from the front, opening up. The only left-hander in this top 5. He led from the front, and he did like to smash it too. He wasn't somebody to hang about. Very aggressive in both on the field and off the field. What I would say, I don't want to say the word typical, but when you imagine big South Africans, you see the rugby players, and then when you kind of see Smith in that same mould, big in stature, big in character, fiercely competitive, and a very, very tough, hard man. So although he did get a lot of runs against England, I still have a lot of respect for him. And it wasn't just about test matches. In one-day internationals in 2006, he led his team, like I said earlier, to chase down that world record 434 Australian total. I remember watching that live, and that was an absolutely amazing match. I think England now hold the highest one-day international total, but that match, Australia-South Africa, was by far the most memorable one-day international that I've ever seen. My number 1 South African batsman is Graeme Smith. So that's another one done, and thanks again if you've watched this till the end. Do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel if you like cricket content. But until then, I'll see you later.